no. Nobody said no.
Oh, you're good. Oh, great. Well, this meeting is now called to order. This is the Intergovernmental Committee meeting for September 17th, 2025. I am the chair, Council Member Shanae Darby for the 2nd District. At this time, I will call for the roll for those members of the committee first. Do we have Council Member Christopher Johnson, Vice Chair? We have Council Member Christian Willauer, she's present. Council Member Xanthia Oliver is present. And do we have Council President Ernest Congo? All right. Well, as a friendly reminder, only members of the committee should be making motions and seconding. And we'll proceed with the agenda. So the first item on the agenda is an ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to codify the ability to schedule a referendum to amend the city's charter. And the sponsor for this piece of legislation is myself. So I can give a brief recap about this piece of legislation, just to give you a little bit of background or history. So back in my last term of city council, we were fighting for, it was a big bill around residency. And in my research around residency for city employees, we found that back in the 90s, the community did a referendum vote about residency. And it was about if city employees should have a certain term or certain requirement of living in the city. So that actually passed, and the community was like, yes, they should, right? So then the city maintained residency because of that referendum vote. So my question was, how do we do this? Why didn't I know about this, right? Why don't I know about this tool in my toolbox for me as a council person and for our community to use? So I started doing some research with my staff, and we found out that the state allows the city of Wilmington or cities to do referendums. So it's already an authority that the city has. We have done it in the past already. So then I was like, well, then how do I do it? So I looked in the city code, and it was not clear on how to do a referendum. And there's a history that it happened, but it wasn't a history of like how it happened. So, thank you. Oh, that's about the reassessment. So in that, I was like, okay, we have to clarify this. We have to make it very clear on how to do so I can explain to my constituents, so I as a council person know how to do it. So in that, we looked at state code. I worked with the city attorney. I also reached out to like the Department of Election. I had different meetings, and I did my research and in this piece of legislation, all it does is clarify the process. So we follow what the state allows, which is for there to be two ways for a referendum to be called. One way is for city council. I put up a resolution and say, hey, I want the city to, and I don't think we can do this, but legalize marijuana, right? I could say, hey, I want the city to vote on legalizing marijuana. 9 of us say, yes, we want the community to vote on this. And then within a certain time frame, an election happens. That is step one. That's one way of initiating a referendum vote where the community enacts a law. The second way of it happening is citizen driven, right? So the community, they go out and knock doors with a petition, and they get 10% of registered voters in the city of Wilmington. And they get it on a petition. They submit it to city council, to our city clerk, and we verify who is a registered voter, get it verified through the Department of Election. And then once that happens, 2 things happen. A commission is created, which is voted by the committee on who serves on that commission. And then a vote takes place. So this can be about any issue in the city that you care about, as long as you're able, which is hard. It is hard to go out and knock doors and get 10% of registered voters in the city of Wilmington. But if you're able to do that, then you can initiate for a vote to happen by the community on any particular issue. So this gives you 2 ways of being able to enact a referendum. Most of this language comes from state code, because they already outlined it. But our from state our charter, our state charter, our city code doesn't clarify it in exactly how we do it as a Wilmington government. So this legislation is simple. It just clarifies how to do the process. It doesn't allow for the process to happen because it can happen now. And if we don't have clear ways about doing it, when the community tries to do it, it creates a lot of barriers. So I'm just trying to clarify the process. So that's just a little bit of backstory and history about this piece of ordinance. I can open it up from questions from any of my council colleagues.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, you sound really low, Councilmember Oliver, but I do
Come back
hear
to me.
you.
Let me work with my thing.
Okay.
Madam Chair, while she's doing that, Councilwoman Bracy is online.
Yes, I would like to recognize Councilmember Bracy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You good, Councilmember Oliver?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I hear you now. You sound good.
I hit something. Can you hear me?
I hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I heard everything you just said. So you're putting you want to put in the ordinance for what particular topic, subject, or you're just putting it in to put it in? Because I understand how you explained everything, but I mean, for you to put it in, what are you trying to do here?
Yeah, so this clarifies the process for a referendum to take place, and those are the two ways. So this isn't about a particular thing. I have many pieces of legislation I probably would put up for this, but but there's nothing specific to. It's clarifying a process that has happened before, can happen before. It's just clarifying what that looks like. So it's not anything specific or a certain topic. It's open for whatever.
Okay, follow up, Madam
Yes.
Chair. So for an example, you mentioned the residency, right?
Yes.
So you're saying with this piece of legislation, if we went out and got 10% of the vote, the legislation would have went through. I mean, even though it went through, but whatever happened, that's a different story. But I'm just saying, is that that's what you're saying?
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that if the community wants to vote on a piece of thing like, hey,
The residency.
residency, city employees should have 5-year residency requirement. Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
The community goes out, gets 10% of registered voters, like a petition. We go to the Department of Election, verify that all the signatures are, meet the requirements and qualifies, and then a vote takes place. So the community can vote no and they can vote yes, right? So I wouldn't initially say that it would have passed, but the community, the decision is in the community's hands at this point.
Follow up.
Yes, ma'am.
So the community would be telling city council what to do if they got 10%.
It is not telling city council what to do. So there are other states and cities that have referendums. Our school board does referendums, and it's not telling them what to do per se. It's called democracy, and there are checks and balances in government. So the community is now able to participate in a very different way in the government and democracy. So this isn't like it's new. It doesn't take any power away from us. What it does is it clarifies a already existing like right or tool that the community has, and all we're doing is clarifying how to do it. So they already can do it. Like people right now today can go out and get this petition and do it. But our city code doesn't clarify what does the petition look like? Who do we submit it to? Like it doesn't give you enough information to do it. So this clarifies what that looks like. So it's really not taken away from city council because the other cities do it and other states do it. I talked to other council members who are under cities who have referendums, and it's a powerful tool that they have, and none of them feel like they lost any power, that it's a negative thing.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Councilmember Willauer?
Yeah, I guess my question is, thank you, Madam Chair. My question is, if there's a petition that's signed by 10%
Registered voters.
of registered voters, and all that does is it sets up the commission, right? Like, and once the commission is set up, the commission decides what the amendments are. Like, it's not like you can go out, like, the commission has total control over what amendments to the city charter are go out for a referendum.
Yeah, so
Right.
yes, correct. So so there is a commission. So you go out, get 10% of the votes. You say, I want 10% of the registered voters because we want to maintain residency for city employees. We're going to get 10% of people who agree with me. I'm going to submit that to the city, and the city is going to create a commission that is voted on by the people on who serves on that commission. That commission then takes control of when the election happens. They're not choosing what is getting voted on because that already is happening with the 10% of voter signatures being collected on that petition.
Can I have a follow-up?
Yes.
So, thanks a lot, Madam Chair. I just don't see where that connection is made in the legislation. Like, to me, it looks like the charter can decide that on that amendment or any other amendment.
Any other legislation?
No, like, it just doesn't seem that if the public, I mean, we can talk about this offline, but it's not clear to me from this legislation that if the public has something that they want to have a referendum on, they create a charter commission. It's not clear to me in this legislation that the charter commission has to move on doing a referendum on that thing.
Right.
But we can talk about it. I'll
Okay.
I'll talk to you about clarifying that.
Any other questions from council colleagues? Are there any public comments online? I can't see if there's any.
There is a Shania Years who signed up, but I don't see her online right now.
Oh, okay. Any in-person public comment? That's it? Yeah, no, you can come up you can either sit if you need to sit or you can stand if you want to.
Thank you. I'm Luigi Vitrone. I'm the president and founder of the Little Italy Neighborhood Association. I'm also a business owner and a resident of the city of Wilmington. Could I make comments about the values that have been placed on our properties? Or do you specifically want to speak about the employees of the city of Wilmington?
That's next.
Okay, so
are
that's
supposed
next.
to-
We're going to talk about that one next.
All right, because,
Right now, we're going to end referendums.
okay.
So we'll be on
Sorry.
that in like
I
1
apologize.
minute. No, you're fine. We'll be on that in 1 minute. So to move to the next thing on the agenda, so this is it is an ordinance. There has to be a vote, but in our city council rules, it still moves to council floor. So do we still have to do a vote if it still moves to council floor? Does it even?
No.
No.
No vote is required. It just it's reviewed in committee as a substitute.
Oh, okay.
I'm
got it.
sorry for speaking out of order. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So yeah, we can do a roll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there
I'm
any-
sorry. It doesn't require to be
Don't
voted.
be quiet, yeah.
You
Yeah,
said
just-
no vote. Okay. All right. Well, this will be on the next city council meeting in October, which I think is October 4th, where it would be up for a vote by the whole entire city council. Or we're going to move to, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. I meant to say October the 2nd.
October the 2nd. Sorry, October the 2nd. So we're going to move to our next agenda item, which is a discussion on property tax reassessment completed by Tyler Technologies. This is going to be led by Councilmember Christian Willauer. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks very much, Madam Chair. So I wanted to just open up this discussion with a little background on property taxes and where we are. I want to thank everybody who's come out for public comment. This won't take long, and what we really wanted to do is give the opportunity for the public to say what's on your mind about this issue. So, but the first thing is why are we having a discussion of property taxes at an intergovernmental committee meeting? And you know, the answer to that is because it's such an intergovernmental issue. Property taxes, as everybody here probably aware, pays for schools and vital government services like police, fire, sanitation. And the way they work is that every property in the county, every property has an assessed value. And then that assessed value times the tax rate equals your tax bill for that particular jurisdiction. So the tax rate is set by the taxing jurisdiction. So if it's the city of Wilmington, we set the tax rate. If it's Newcastle County, they set the tax rate. So it's the assessed value times the tax rate equals your tax bill. And the assessed values of all the properties hadn't changed in 40 years. So although that didn't mean that we were all paying the same taxes year after year, because all the jurisdictions would, you know, increase the tax rate to get more revenue over time. But the assessed value of all the properties stayed the same for 40 years. And then a lot of people are probably aware there was a court case that was settled, and it said that all 3 counties in the state of Delaware had to update the assessments of all the properties to meet the state requirement that assessed values equal fair market value. So that was a requirement that the court gave to all the counties. State law gives counties in the state the responsibility of determining the assessed value for every property. So Newcastle County has a responsibility for assessing every property in the county, in Newcastle County, at the present fair market value of the property. So Newcastle County, to comply with this court order, they hired Tyler Technologies to provide new assessed values, update those assessed values for all the properties, and those new assessed values came out late last year. And you know why we're here, why we're talking about this again, is that I and I know a lot of other council members have heard from residents and from business owners that there are questions about the accuracy of those assessment numbers for a concerning number of properties in the city of Wilmington. And these are some of the issues that people have brought up to me. One, small business owners have talked about their commercial properties being overassessed. A lot of residential property owners in the 5th District have brought up to me that their residential properties are overassessed, meaning that they don't think that they could sell their home for the price, for the assessed value. So the assessed value is supposed to equal what you could sell your home for or sell the business for, but a lot of people feel like, no, that it's off. Like the assessed value is way higher than what I could sell my home for. And then people have brought up to me that vacant land, you know, the land values are a lot higher than actually that land is, they could sell the land for. And then people have also brought up that, you know, they think that commercial properties, big corporate-owned commercial properties are underassessed. Like they're worth more. They're paying less taxes than they should. So it turns out that corporate-owned commercial properties in the city are paying significantly less in taxes as a result of this reassessment. And Spotlight Delaware and the News Journal have both underlined that that commercial properties that there's significant reductions in taxes for commercial properties, big commercial properties in the city, including J.P. Morgan Chase, Barclays, M&T Bank, and among others. And so the city budget actually found that the total assessed value in the city of Wilmington, that commercial properties used to make up 42% of the tax base, the property tax base. But as a result of this reassessment, commercial properties declined to 29% of the tax base, meaning the total value of all the commercial properties was 42% of the tax base, but it went down as a result of the reassessment to 29% of the tax base. And residential properties went from 47% of the tax base to 57% of the tax base. So what does that mean? Just when some taxpayers pay less, other taxpayers have to pay more. It's just the nature of how taxes work. It's like splitting the bill. If someone, decides to pay less, all the other people have to make up the difference. So a lot of city residents, especially owners of more modest homes, have received tax bills that are 20%, 50%, even 100% or more higher than what they paid in their tax bills last year. And there have been some policy responses so far. I wanted to just briefly go into that, which is that city taxes are due September 30th. Normally they're due, I think, August 30th, but this year they're due on September 30th. Also, the administration made the policy decision that income-eligible seniors can still apply for the senior discount program. So, you can go online and find out about that information. You can still apply. It's by October 3rd, you will get 75% reduction. But there's kind of a rolling deadline, but you can still apply to the city senior tax assistance program. County tax bill is due on November 30th. There was a lot of news that the county was going to redo tax bills, but that the state had passed a law to let school districts pay give residents a lower tax rate and commercial properties a higher tax rate for school taxes. There's a court case now. I guess this is just cutting edge news. There's a court case now saying that asking the court to invalidate that law. So you may or may not get a new tax bill. But whatever you do, your county tax, which includes the school tax, is due on November 30th. So we're just here today to talk about issues with the reassessment and to hear from you, from the public, about issues with the reassessment, and also to hear about policy solutions that you think we need. I think payment plans are important, but they're not enough. I think the real goal needs to make sure that all the assessments are correct and that no one should be charged taxes on a value that is more than their home is worth. I also think corporations should pay their fair share. I and other city council members have been talking to the administration about a path forward to achieve these goals. But today, we really want to hear from you. And I want to thank the chair for putting this on the agenda and giving the public the chance to talk about how the reassessment has impacted you and policy solutions you think we need.
Councilmember Willauer, would you like me to talk about the hearings and the dates coming up before we open it up to the public?
I mean, you can share that information, sure.
Okay. So just so everyone is aware, our General Assembly, our House and Senate Democratic leadership announced the formation of special committees. They're doing an investigation on the statewide property reassessment that happened, and they're considering additional legislative action to improve the process and offer targeted tax relief. So the committees will hold a series of public hearings this fall. So if you're interested, if you want your voice to be heard on a state level, you can attend these hearings. I don't know if there's a public place where this is posted. Is it public anywhere?
They're press releases, but I don't believe it's on the website yet. But it
Okay.
should, when the meeting is closer, be on the
General Assembly site. So they should be on the General Assembly site, but they're coming up. There's going to be one on Tuesday, the 30th at 9:30 a.m. There's another hearing the week of October 6th. There's another one October 20th. And on November 3rd. So there's 4 hearings that are coming up. They will be at the Senate Chamber and Legislative Hall. They will all be open to the public in live stream for people who want to join via virtually. So if you want additional details about the committee membership, the hearing schedules, and opportunities for public engagement, you're going to go to legis.delaware.gov. So I want to make sure that the community is aware that our General Assembly, they are listening and they want to hear from you guys on what happened with the property reassessment, and they are doing an investigation with 4 hearings this fall. So we can open it. I don't know if we want to open it up to the public or want our council colleagues to add anything, or council colleagues, you have any questions or thoughts?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Councilman Willauer, thanks to both y'all for bringing this in the forefront. I received quite a few calls regarding this tax assessment, and I don't think people realize how serious this is until it really, I think they do, but it's only going to get worse. So I guess my question to you, Council Willauer, when you said that the commercial taxes have went from 42% and residential have went to 29%. I know what's going on, but why do you think the switch went like that? Is that just based on negligence again from Tyler Tech? Because that makes no sense that commercial have been reduced to 29% and residential to 42%. Or is this just another error of their assessment? What's your thoughts?
Yes, Councilmember Willauer.
So, again, that comes out of the budget book. And really what it does, it's important for the public. I just want to go over it again so that it's clear what those numbers mean, which is that, it's like a total assessed value. So if you add up the assessed values of all the properties in the city of Wilmington, commercial properties used to make up, their total value used to make up 42% of like the total value. And then as a result of the reassessment, their total value went down to 29%. And then residential properties used to make up 47% of the total value. And as a result of the reassessment, their total assessment went up to 57%. So what that just means is that residents are carrying the more of the cost of paying for, city services than they were before the reassessment. So why do I think that happened? I personally think that I've heard from so many people that their properties are overassessed. So I think we need to go back and make sure that, residential properties haven't gone up to 57% of the total because those numbers are wrong. Like, we have to make sure those numbers are right. And the same thing with commercial properties. Their total value has gone down. I think we need to double check and make sure that the value of the commercial properties is on point, that it's accurate. And I just want to be clear that not all commercial properties have seen a reduction in their assessment. Like, there are some commercial properties, in particular your smaller commercial properties, that just because of the way the assessment was done, they got this plug for their land value, a lot of them, that was just like really high. And that made their total assessment like a lot higher. So a lot of smaller businesses are seeing these really high tax bills. So my whole thing is like, listen, the assessed value is supposed to be where the fairness comes in. Like, the assessed value equals what you really own. You multiply that times the tax rate, then you're paying your fair share. But if that assessed value is wrong, we're not getting to fairness.
Thank you. I just wanted for you to reiterate that so the public can hear that. No more questions. Thanks a lot.
Yes. Any more questions from any of our committee members? Any other council members? We will start public comment. So I know there are a few public comments online, so I'll go in person, then I'll go online. We'll rotate that way. So if you're interested in public comment right now, anyone? This young man here who was starting earlier, you can get us started. Yes, you're welcome. If you can state your name and what district you're in when you come up, that would be great.
Thank you. I'm Luigi Vitrone. I'm the president and founder of the Little Italy Neighborhood Association. I'm also been a resident for 38 years in the city of Wilmington. The majority of my employees live in the city, and I have several properties that I own. And before I get into too much detail, in the interest of a very grateful community, the Little Italy Neighborhood Association, the 5th and 7th districts, we really want to thank Councilwoman Christian Willauer for all the work that she has put into this situation. And Jamila, who is sitting behind me, I just want to recognize them of the amount of hours and the detail that they provided us with what's going on. I'm really not surprised that our councilman, Mr. Johnson, didn't show up. It's kind of par for the course. In any event, I own a restaurant called Luigi Vitrone's Possibilities Restaurant, Little Italy, Lincoln Street, right underneath the archway. I've been there for 38 years. The restaurant is listed in the top 250 Italian restaurants. Not in the city, not in the state, not on the East Coast, not in America, but in the whole world. A lot of people have come to Wilmington, and I'm going to pat myself on the back by virtue of the quality of my restaurant for 38 years and the publicity that we received, not only here in the city of Wilmington, but across the world. I've been on the Food Network many, many times, more times than I have hair on my head. So I'm here with a kind of a strong voice. The businesses in Little Italy have contacted me, as well as the residents, over the course of time since this Tyler organization that we got stuck with them. And everyone, like Ms. Willauer says, has complained. There has never been one positive situation in that particular venue. A lot of things that we don't hear too much about, and I know it's not part of your situation, Madam Chair. But everybody has the idea and the experience of how much our gas and electric bills have increased, and our insurance has increased. The insurance in my restaurant in the last 2 years has literally doubled from what it used to be. The utilities are off the wall. Delivery charges are more than the gas and the electric put together, delivery charge. And I know that's not in your situation, but it does resonate with the situation we're having with Delmarva, with our taxes. The cost of repair and maintenance, call an electrician or a plumber into your house. And if you don't have a Blue Cross Blue Shield health card to pay them, it's not going to work for you. Mm-hmm. Everything has exploded. The cost of food, the cost of alcohol as far as restaurants go, entertainment. Mr. Safiri is standing behind me, is the owner of Fusco's Water Ice. The cost of sugar and the other ingredients it takes for him to make that water ice has almost tripled. Olive oil has gone up 4 times, from $35, from $35 a gallon 3 years ago, it's up to almost $97. So everything is it all coming together. It's not just a tax situation, but it is important to us because we have to pay all those bills. Mm-hmm. The cost of labor, my dishwasher gets paid $20 an hour. My line cooks get almost $30 an hour. We're not living in a real world here. And another question that I had you didn't see me raise my hand was I wanted to ask Chris, there's been and correct me if I'm wrong, there seems to be a deficit in the amount of money raised by businesses in terms of the taxes versus residents. Is that correct?
Well,
we can answer questions.
I mean,
yes.
basically, the issue is that there are a small portion of very large businesses that got very large tax decreases. there's a lot of smaller businesses that got tax increases. So commercial is down overall, but it's very uneven within commercial. The bigger ones got big reductions, but the smaller ones are seeing
All right,
increases.
so I'm going to tell you my theory, and if you disagree with it, you could throw that bottle of water at me. Do you think that mathematics that you just released to us has anything to do with businesses leaving the city of Wilmington?
You can answer.
Because I can tell you, from the time I came here 38 years ago, and Mr. Safiri will agree with me, a significant amount of businesses have left here. Think of that on a chart, certain amount from, say, 38 years ago. And then the subdivision of my comment is the amount of businesses that have changed hands because the owners at the time, some of them were getting older like myself, some of them were having health issues also like myself, but a very significant amount of that population has left because they're not happy with the way the city of Wilmington is being operated.
Okay, so
Well,
I think you.
The
I'm so
crime
sorry.
situation, Madam Chair, is off the hook.
Yes, I definitely do understand. So I'm gonna have.
I've
Council
left
for-
11 messages for the Wilmington Police Department chief, who's making a nice salary. Never heard from him.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that happened. I can get your information.
No, I'm not interested in talking to him anymore.
Okay, that's.
He doesn't
fine, too.
exist for me anymore, Madam Chair.
Yes. So I'm gonna have Council Member Willauer answer your question, and then we have to move to the next public commenter.
Sorry. Okay.
No, that's fine.
Right. So I just wanted to say, there have been a lot of businesses, that come and go. There is a fair amount. But these statistics are from like last year
Okay.
to this year.
Okay.
It's not like over time. It's like, no, there's some very large, commercial properties that have very significant tax reductions. And since last year, not over time. But anyway, what we want to do is give everybody a chance to speak. So
Okay. So in closing, Madam Chair, if I could just say one more thing, and I think Chris has the statistics or the numbers, how it affects my restaurant specifically. The Columbus Inn is 4 times the size of my restaurant. I seat 32 people. I have 5 tables. 4 times. The Columbus Inn seats over 135 people. They have 41 parking spaces. Do you know how many I have? 0. They have a garden in the back of their restaurant that is half the size of my whole property that the restaurant sits upon. Chris, can you tell them what the Columbus Inn, I don't have the figures in front of me, but it was like $100,000 difference between.
Madam Chair.
Somebody call me?
No, she's calling me. So you have about 10 more seconds? Are you
Yeah, so in
closing up?
closing, it's, the amount of money that they're obsessed at versus me is, it's not even in practical mathematics.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank
We
you so much.
definitely hear your-
Sorry if I took too long.
We definitely hear what you're saying. So we have those things noted. Online to, you want to go, we're going to go online for,
Madam Chair,
yes.
I think Councilmember Oliver has a hand up and Councilmember Johnson is online now.
Okay, I would like to recommend, to recognize Councilmember Johnson. And then, we're going to continue with public comment and then go back to city council.
Oh, I accidentally hit it by mistake. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So we're going to go online to Miss Pierce. Is she online?
Did you say Chris Johnson was online?
Yeah, Councilmember Johnson is here now. He is present.
Okay, okay.
Is Miss Pierce?
Shawnee Pierce?
Yeah, Shawnee Pierce.
No, I don't. Could you please hold up your hand if you're online, Shawnee? Hopefully I'm pronouncing her name correctly. I don't see her.
Cynthia Ferguson.
she's here.
Hi, this is Cynthia Ferguson.
Yes. If you can state your district you're in, and then you can get started.
I am in the 6th district. I live in Browntown. I've lived down here for 33 years, owned my house. I'm not concerned so much about my house reassessment because it was assessed extremely low. But I own 2 pieces of vacant land. Now, as you can imagine, in Browntown, the land is not that big. One of the lots is 17 foot by 65 foot. The other lot, which is adjacent to it, is 20 foot by 40 foot. One of these lots, the longer one, is a residential piece of property. The shorter lot that I have is a light manufacturing piece of property. They were both assessed $30,000. So $60,000 for 2 lots. If you look at the city code and you go through setbacks, now remember, these are vacant. I purchased them 7 years ago, I believe, for $10,000 for both of them. And 7 years later, they're worth $60,000. Or so they say. Nobody would ever buy them for $60,000. They were on sale. They were for sale for about 4 years for $20,000, and nobody would buy them. I offered half, and they gave it to me. I could not build a building alone on either one of these properties without setbacks and going to the zoning board and all that. I could not put a piece of a manufacturing facility on the lot the way that it is now. Yet they're telling me it's worth $30,000. I appealed to Taylor. I don't even think they read my appeal. I think they just automatically, we've got 2 different lots. They're in 2 different classes. They're 2 different sizes. They're adjacent to each other. And there's no way you can really use them without it being one piece of property. And even then, you'd have to go through the zoning board of adjustment and everything. I just think Tyler rubber stamped stuff. I don't believe, they actually changed one of the lot's classes to residential, even though it's not zoned residential in the city of Wilmington. And as you know,
20 seconds.
manufacturing properties are worth a lot less. So I just have a concern about Tyler. I'm going to try again, go to the county and not go to Tyler to put in yet another appeal. But I just think something's really wrong with what they did.
Yes. We have your information. Can they sign in online?
I did sign in online.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, we have your information, and we're here listening. So thank you for your public comment.
Okay.
Who's next in person? Yes. If you can state your name and your district you live in.
Yes, good afternoon, good evening all. My name's Holland Ralston Jr., and I have a few comments that I would like to make. And the first comment is that the county council and the county exec have set off tax obligations which would be due until November with an offer for a payment plan. Why hasn't the city joined the county with this proposed relief in light of the recent legislation passed by the Delaware General Assembly? So that's my question. Why hasn't the city come in line with the county in that regard? The second point is the county was supposed to carry out reassessments for properties every 5 years. Why weren't they done? Why didn't the city do anything to see that the county did their job? Or if the city could have did it, why didn't they do it? Okay, why are we as property owners and taxpayers being forced to pay a 40-year overdue bill in one billing cycle? I think that this 40-year bill excuse me, I think that this 40-year bill should be divided into increments and incrementally applied over an agreed number of years. Property owners today are being forced to burden the load for the failure of the county and the city to carry out the 5-year reassessment required by state law. This is my understanding. Because of this reassessment scam was conducted during a high market boom for houses, what happens when this bubble bursts? When home values decline? This is why I'm proposing an incremental implementation of said tax obligation. And until all of the aforementioned issues are resolved, last year's billing obligations and billing information must be used to bill property owners and to satisfy tax obligations for 2025 billing cycle. And last but not least, this reassessment scam is reducing the tax obligations owed on multi-million-dollar buildings, businesses, and corporations, and this scam is increasing the property tax obligation
10
on the
seconds.
small property and homeowners. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and the city has an obligation to straighten this matter out. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your comment.
Madam Chair.
Go online to, is there a Maureen Albert? Maureen? Maureen Albert? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, if you could state your name and your district.
Yes, my name is Maureen Albert, and I live here in District 5. I do believe the biggest problem, as stated earlier, is with Tyler. Me personally, I also own property down in Laurel, Delaware, and it's I think when I question them about my other property down there, that property that I received down there, it was a gift from one of my great aunts who passed away, and she has a trailer on the land. And she bought the trailer maybe back in 1970. And they had assessed the trailer as if it was bought back in the early in 1990. And I had to argue with them about the price. I mean, the year that the trailer was bought, find documents. So I even had to question them. How do you even come up with finding, and how did you even come up with the date and come up with this assessment of this property of when this was bought? And I mean, it took forever to keep going back and forth with them. And you have to keep, even now when they told me what the price was, I just went on ahead and paid that property tax because this one here, I'm a retired military, so I'm exempt. But at the same time, just having to go back and forth with them on that property. And I feel bad for the people down there because I feel like this is a way to steal people's homes and property and tax them out. This is not something that's just happening here in Delaware. It's going on in different states with people that I do know. And I think, it breaks my heart when I hear people who can't afford it. Like have a grandmom that's 97. I have to pay hers. And I don't even know what the age is that you get these breaks from for retirement purposes. But it's just sad to see that, you're taking advantage of people. And if you can't make your mortgage, well, this is the next step. We're going to tax you out of your property. So we do have to stand up and fight. It's just not a one person's fight. The community has to come together and join. And this is just another way of getting people out of their homes. And the writing is on the wall. You do a comparison to your neighbor's house. How is my home different than my neighbor's that even my taxes is higher than yours? It's not right. The system is broken. And so you have to talk to your neighbors. I'm not being nosy, but I
20
need to
seconds.
ask you because this is a ward and this assessment is wrong. So that way we can show that the comparison that you use, how did you come up with this assessment? So this is something that you have to be able to voice yourself to ask people to let them know that in order to make it right, the system is broken. So please.
Yes, no, thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Yes. We'll move in person to the next public comment. Um, then you after her. Yeah. If you can state your name and district, you can sit to.
Good afternoon and buenas tardes. My name is Carmen Silva. I am a resident of the Westside Hilltop District in Wilmington, and I've been a resident for almost over 50 years. On Tuesday, August 26, 2025 at 6:30 p.m., I stood in front of the Newcastle County Council expressing my concerns and frustration due to the current county and property taxes increased. I was mocked, laughed, and disrespected by the members of the county council, which in my eyes shows the type of people our community has elected. Today, I stand in front of you hoping for answers and a solution to this nightmare. When I received the letter from Tyler, I was impressed with the results. The impression became a shock when I later received the school taxes and property tax bills. Last year, I paid around $400 for school tax and around $300 for property taxes. This year, I am asked to pay over $3,000 between both bills. This is not acceptable. There is no way I can afford to pay such amount. There is something wrong with this picture. How is it that I am asked to pay such an increase while huge corporations get a cut? Someone made a big boo-boo. I deserve answers. I deserve to know the findings of Tyler to justify such disaster. I do not want a payment plan, and I do not want an extension, as this is accepting the injustice being done. Please realize that many people will probably lose the most valuable thing they have, which is their homes. And I wonder if this is part of a plan to push people out of the city. As a solution, I think we should have a new assessment done, but not by Tyler. We need to show the data that proves that the current assessments were done legally and correctly. And we need to stop the madness now. Use the data from previous years, adjusting taxes accordingly while an investigation on Tyler report and data is done. Our voices are rolling, and we need justice. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your comment. I'm gonna go online and then you. So the next person, after I'll do you. The next person online is Henry Smith III. I have. Is there a Henry on the line?
You can speak. You're unmuted.
Yeah, just state your name and your district, and you can start talking. No, we'll come back. Henry.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I do hear you now. If you could state your name and your district, okay. You can go ahead and get started.
Thank you very much. I will be brief. I've been listening to comments or reactions to the Tyler reassessment, so I don't need to repeat what's been said many times over, and that is the unfairness of the Tyler assessment. My concern really is on behalf of individuals like the lady who just spoke, being put in a situation that's totally unreasonable, with unreasonable expectation that she can meet this new bill that she's getting. I'll just share my perspective on just using Tyler. And using Tyler, what ended up happening with this reassessment, Tyler became the judge of what the taxes should be for each of the properties in the city. Tyler was also the jury that heard the appeals or attempts at appeals. So they also function as an appellate court. Everything about that process is wrong. If I were going to, not if, let me say, my recommendation would be to do this all over again, but not use a single assessor. I think that there should be 3 independent assessors doing the assessment again, and it's going to cost a couple of dollars, but that should happen. And there should be an independent group, separate and independent group, to deal with the appeals. Because this is a situation, given what's going on now across the nation with inflation growing, cost of everything going up, to put this additional burden on individuals who can't afford it is something that requires, I think, serious reconsideration of the whole reassessment process. So thank you for the time.
Yes, thank you for your comment. We'll go in person. State your name and district.
Good evening. I'm Joseph Stafiri. I'm the owner of Fusco's Water Ice, District 7. Just want to give you a little insight to what I'm going through in my situation. Over 115 years ago, my family came to this country by boat. I'm the 4th generation owner of Fusco's Water Ice. My great-grandparents and their siblings came. They located at 610 North Union Street, trying to achieve the American dream. And 70 years ago, just shy of 70 years ago, they started Fusco's Water Ice. It's become, to this day, I may be biased, but it's a historical landmark of Little Italy and Wilmington. It brings a lot of people here. And it's great. I got a lot of passion. I'm the only one in my family that does it and has carried this on. I have 4 children that I hope one day, one of them wants to continue and be the 5th generation. Take a lot of pride in what we do. And what all of our ancestors did there. Lately, there's been a lot of struggle, as Mr. Vitrone has mentioned, insurance, utilities, employment, all the rise and everything. But this failed tax assessment, reassessment here is definitely like the nail in the coffin for me. That property does not really generate a whole lot of income, just given that less people, you can only get, there's 2 rental properties right next door, and then there's the Water Ice Stand, which is a 200 square foot concrete shack. The rental properties you can really only get so much for. It's just less desirable to be there for some people due to different things going on in the city, crime, drugs, what have you. But it's not easy. It was never a huge moneymaker. It was just I just took more pride in it than to try to get rich. I wanted to continue the family legacy and tradition. So this has been a real struggle. It's my great grandmother's dying wish to my grandfather never to sell that property, and he sold it to his son. His son sold it to me. I bought it for $150,000 4 years ago, I believe, 3 years ago, and now and then it was assessed at $230. Now it's assessed for $460,000. My overall taxes have gone up over 300%, and if we don't have this corrected, and I have to face the reality of this mistake, we're gonna lose an iconic business in Little Italy and Wilmington. And I have a hard time swallowing that. So I really hope that we can fix this.
Yes. No, thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Do we have any more online comments? I
Cindy
think we're good.
Gibbs is online.
Sydney Gibbs.
Yes, can you hear me?
I do. If you could just state your name and your district.
Yes, Cindy Gibbs of this district. And I just want to make a comment. And I know I'm not going to say the same thing everybody else has been saying because you've heard what the problem is. I'd like to know who is going to help us resolve this. The city has an obligation to the residents and they need to do something. They created this issue. They need to help correct this issue. So I want to know who is going to correct this issue, who brought Tyler Technology into this, and who is responsible for bringing them in, and who is going to help us. Because you've heard all of the issues. I have the same issue. What I need to know is how is the city going to help the residents out of this mess? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I know Councilmember Willauer, you were going to talk about some of the things you're going to do or propose, maybe.
No, I think there's just time
You just
for the public.
you just want to listen.
Yes.
Okay. We could take the next in person. Your name and district, please.
Yes, good evening. My name is Lourdes Rivera. I'm in the 5th District. I have been a homeowner for the last 35 years. And I'm also here to advocate for my neighbor on 200 North Harrison Street. This is the first time I have not bring an actual speech, but I'm going to speak out of my heart. I've been hearing so much, like Cindy was mentioning, and not to repeat the same thing. But as every day goes by, I'm thinking not only about actually resident that works, I'm talking about the abuse that has been happening across the board. I mean, senior citizen, people with disability, people with children, people that doesn't work. It's just an injustice. It's like somebody would just say, now, who's going to resolve this matter? But as my house was, my house was assessed as 196,000. When I look and see low, my house is only worth 132,000. And it's property class as a resident. I just paid my taxes. It was due before September the 30th, and I was able to pay mine. But when I talk about my neighbor, his house is classified as a commercial, but he's a resident. When I spoke with the person with the county, they said that this house has been in the market as a commercial. And I told them this house my neighbor has been homeowner now for the last, I've been there 35, they have been there 33. I just don't understand why it's commercial. I mentioned it to the county, but they said that something to be looking into. When? I don't know. But my main purpose is that their house has been, 310,800 out of control right here. When I mentioned it to them, and the property taxes arrived for them to pay now, so September the 30th, and I spoke to them, they said that they're willing to do an installment plan. But the first payment will be assessed with no interest. But the second and the third, and how many months, 4 months, will be assessed as a 6%. When I told them my neighbor was 85, applied for the exam of 65, they told me that there was a third application that we did not send for my neighbors. I did the county for my neighbors, and I did the state, in which they did not pay. But the local school taxes, they say it's a separate application. They did not mention that to me. They did not send it to them. And I'm considering this is just a way to just
10
charging
seconds.
you more for you. And my neighbors are worried. Their tax property is right now $1,085. I said, right now they have not been able to pay. They're willing to do the installment, but I consider it an abuse. They both 85, they both in Social Security. And I'm thinking, this is an abuse of power. Whoever hired Tyler, they should be responsible for it. We should not have to pay all this money. And why someone here said 40-year assessment? I know we don't want to go to square one. But I'm here to advocate for seniors, disability, people with children, and overall, everyone is being affected here. But we need an answer. We need a solution. We have been coming to the city council. We have been spoken. And I know some of you have listened to us. But on the other hand, we need a solution now. People taxes are already had to be paid. They give an extension to November the 30th. They said they're gonna send another bill for less amount of money, like $100 less for my neighbor. And I said, that's all? You're gonna credit $100 from $1,085? I mean, that's nothing. And they said, but it's better than nothing. I said, man, this is not right. I'm saying, I haven't gone to the county myself, but I'm just mad. I'm mad for a lot. And this is the only 2 letters I got, but if I was to collect letters from my senior in my neighborhood, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people in my, like Carmen was saying, I was like, wow, her house been assessed that high? I was lucky. I didn't have a high taxes on my property, but still, I don't want to think of me. I always think of others.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your comment.
And thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm. And I would, I know some people are asking like, who started this assessment? Where did it come from? But all 3 counties contracted with Tyler Technologies to do this statewide property reassessment. And it was under a lawsuit settlement. So in that lawsuit settlement, basically we got in trouble for not doing the reassessment for over 40 years, right? And it was also about tax equity and outdated property values. So I think we just made the situation worse. So there was already a terrible situation happening because we didn't do it for 40 years. Then we did the reassessment, and now we're hearing from the community that it did not even improve what happened in the past, and now it's still a mess. That's what it sounds like. Just so you guys understand. But I think the city does play a role. I know that our administration and I know that city council has been working together to try to come up with different solutions and ways and what our jurisdiction and power can be on the city level on this, and then working with the state. Is there any more public comment online? Are we good online?
Let me just double check the sign-in sheet again.
I don't know if.
All I have.
Okay. I don't know if you just came to listen from the administration, or you want comment, or.
We're just here to listen.
Just here to listen. All right. Okay. Perfect. Any more comments? 2 people back here. Sorry. Yes. You guys both can come up and be right after each other. Do that next. Yeah, after them. Yes. If you state your name and your district, you can make your comment.
My name is Dr. David Chen from the 8th District, and I'm going to speak quickly because I have a lot to cover, and I've said it before, but not much has changed. Some of you may know me related to my work as a physician, policy analyst, and researcher. Today I'm speaking on behalf of myself as a resident of Wilmington, on behalf of my neighbors on the 1500 block of West 14th Street, and many other residents of the city about the clearly erroneous data practices exercised by Tyler Tech in our property tax assessments. I've given these comments previously to Wilmington City Council, and I'm delivering them again because still no action has been taken to even acknowledge the errors that I've highlighted multiple times to multiple representatives. I'll simply describe the facts of my experience, the very simple and obvious interpretation of the data, and how current proposals fail to address the problem. Spoiler alert, my 3 main points are, number 1, you cannot rely on exterior features alone to estimate which sales are comparable. If you do, you will, 2, create a systematic bias across entire neighborhoods. When this happens, as you have done, 3, cost shifts the burden of making corrections to the taxpayers, when the burden should be, as originally advertised, on you as the government and our elected representation. We purchased our home in 2016 for approximately $317,000. The prior assessment value was $62,000. I understand the need for updating assessment, but the initial reassessment by Tyler Tech was for $611,000. This is a 911% increase. Nearly all of the single-family homes on our block were similarly assessed for at least $600,000, despite the variable conditions and renovations done. We know this because at least 6 independent households talked to one another and compared notes. 2 houses on our block sold in 2024 were at $430,000 and $355,000. I paid $600 out of pocket for an independent appraisal by a company who has over 30 years of experience in our neighborhood. They assessed our house value at $440,000. In discussion, we have all agreed that if anybody here wants to offer us $600K, it is sold. I did the informal assessment process, made some small corrections. Tyler Tech overestimated the gross living area by a couple square feet, added some stuff about our porches. On the spot, I watched him increase our assessment from 611 to 622, even though it was a smaller living area. Again, number 1, you cannot rely on exterior features alone to estimate which sales are comparable. I asked the rep for Tyler Tech for comparable property sales. Here's the list of 5 comps used in descending order of value. $615,000, $500,000, $480,000, $402,000, $380,000. Those are the 5 comp sales. And again, my property was assessed for over $600,000, more than the highest comp here. It should be obvious that with these discrepant valuations, something is wrong. We had to ask Tyler Tech directly for the comparative sales in the informal appeal. And for those of us that asked, they all shared this same outlier property at $615,000. So that's probably why these assessments are so off. They pin things to a single property, and then a whole neighborhood is sunk like that. I know I'm at time. I'll just make my 3rd point here. Again, this cost shifts the burden to why we are sitting here tonight, right? This is something that was Tyler Tech's and the government's responsibility to do. It was not done, and yet here we are trying to figure out and very clearly telling you what the problem is and have been for over 6 months. And I have not received a single acknowledgement that this concern is valid, even though it seems pretty clear that it is. I'm going to reserve the rest of my comments. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. You can state your name and your district.
I have to follow that.
Yes.
My name is Christina Panza. I'm from the 5th District. And I am here probably to summarize a lot of the things that have been said with data that I have pulled both from analyzing 28,000 properties across the city of Wilmington, because yes, a Freedom of Information Act requested it all immediately, and also reading through Tyler Technologies' 55-page report that they presented to Newcastle County. I am in the minority of people who had a successful informal appeal back in January, but doing it highlighted for me both the errors I caught in my own assessment, and I saw patterns across the city when I was data collecting. So I'd like to just start with some statistics. First of all, in the whole county, there were 214,800 total properties that were assessed. 197,000 of those were residential. Tyler Technology, in their report, said that they used 8,890 market sales total to calibrate the entire county. That, I think, highlights the problem that David Chen just pointed out and that others have said, that the market value of neighborhoods is off. Tyler did not collect enough information up front. Within the city, there are 21,500 residential properties. 84.7% of those increased in their tax burden for the city. let me see what else I want to add here. The commercial properties in the city, there were 19,030 properties that went up and 660 that went down. So more commercial properties did go up with their tax burden than went down. But the ones that went down by significant amounts, whereas the rest of us are now paying the burden. Maybe we went from $500 to $3,000, but there are large corporations that received $300,000 discounts on their tax bills because of these decreases to their prospective proportional assessment. There were 34 commercial properties in particular whose land value alone was decreased on a per acre basis from things like millions of dollars to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So while residents in the city of Wilmington may be paying $1 to $4 million per acre of land for the land portion of their total value, commercial properties, larger commercial properties in particular, are paying $260,000 per acre for large downtown parcels. I did a market analysis of every vacant land sale in city limits for zip codes 19801 through 19809. Tyler Technology and the International Standards for Mass Appraisals handbook, which Tyler Technology references regularly, both state that all land ought to be by neighborhood vacant as is. So using those criteria, we ought to be able to calculate land values by neighborhood or region and apply those, including outliers, because of course there are outliers everywhere for sales that either went above or below, including everything. The average market value of land is $800,000 for the entire greater Wilmington area. But obviously we could parse that out more because there's data available for that. It does not seem like Tyler Technology did that.
Yeah, time. You got good information, but yeah, time.
Can I, in terms of solutions, I would like to just add a few things because I realize we're all in this position of now what? The county issued bills. The county may be reissuing bills, but maybe not reissuing bills. We're not sure because information is coming quickly, it's being disseminated poorly, and it's sometimes on social media, it's sometimes on websites. What we need from our intergovernment committees, from our city council, from our county council, is we need clear, updated communication with timestamps so that we know what the most up-to-date information is in real time. We need to know what payment plans are and aren't available, if there's going to be interest, if we'll get refunds, or if we're going to get credits for overpaying. If somebody pays 6 months on a payment plan and then their appeal gets finalized and their bill drops, are they done for the year? We need answers to to solutions. We need to know what's happening next. For people who are still going through the appeals process, are they going to then have a credit for next year? What about Superior Court appeals, which would be the next step? The county nor the city has provided any information about what the Superior Court appeal process would look like. And finally, would the city offer legal help for appeals? Because there are people who didn't know how to complete the application. Their applications were denied. It seems like they were ignored. We have not gotten response letters. Nobody got information about what happens next. And so I think that there's ample opportunity for this committee in particular to address real questions in real time, knowing that both the county and the state are both actively moving on this issue in different ways. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I don't think I have any online, so you are up next. Name and district.
Sure. I'm Jamila Davey, and I live in the 5th District. And Christina just had some really great information. But I want to point out another reason why I think that, like so many people have said here, that a new process needs to occur, or that the data that's been provided by Tyler should be audited whole cloth, and reasons why I feel the appeal process, even if it were to play out, isn't adequate. And it goes back to some of the things that Councilwoman Willauer set out, at the beginning with her comments, that, as long as we have inaccurate numbers, that, the process just can't be fair, because only really, overassessed properties have a chance to be corrected through the appeals process. And all those properties that were underassessed, they stay out there. And in a revenue neutral model, you still have people making up for those big losses that Christina just pointed out as well, again, in those downtown properties that we've heard so much about who have had such large devaluations through this process. So our residential properties, our small commercial properties are going to be making up that amount. And I also wanted to just shine a light on we renters out here so for example, I live in a home that was assessed, the assessment number is about $50K more than its Zestimate, that you see on Zillow. And I know, I have a property manager. I don't know the owner. I have no status or, from which to appeal. And I know that these costs will be passed on to me and other renters. And as I know, an issue very dear to your heart, that, so many renters are having a hard time paying their rent. And it's just another expense there, something else that makes the affordability factor really dicey for regular folks here in the city of Wilmington. So that's, a main point that I, just want to hit again. I think it's very important to know that, split rates, appeals are not going to fix the core issue here. And, and I'll just reiterate too, the thing from the beginning that really stood out to me in looking at, the folks who've done some really great work with the numbers was just that the land values really don't make sense. And they show systematic bias, that you can look at it by acre, that people who have the smallest parcels of land pay the highest amount for that land. So it can be, if you're in a 0.02 acre and the $2 million per acre cost. But if you get down to 0.05 acre, it's going down by $500K so that people on large parcels are paying $200K. And it doesn't make sense that people with the smallest pieces of land would pay the most for their land. That's regressive tax policy. And we also know that CAMA, computer-assisted mass appraisal models, are known to be biased against disinvested communities. That they, in particular, are over-assessed. They found it. It's a thing. And so it's always shocking to me that this rolled out and no one saw that coming, and had anything in place for it. So I hope we can do a holistic solution. Thank you.
All right. I think we have one more in-person comment.
Okay, this is going to be really short. So I'm a neighbor of David's, and my house also was appraised near $600,000.
What's your name? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gina Campanella.
Oh, okay.
So I appealed to Tyler. They increased the size of my house. And in doing my research and pulling numbers, one thing that I think they really miss is like the roof lines. There are houses where the third floor, you can see the roof line. My roof line's a little peak. I have 1 bedroom and a small bath. Other ones have 4 bedrooms up there. But my house has more square feet than the ones that have a full third floor. That's just something that's crazy. Another thing that seems to be missing is the fact that people have garages and their houses are valued less than ours that don't have any garages and barely have a street wide enough to park on. Everybody knows in Wilmington, if you have a garage, your house should be $100,000 more. Mm-hmm. It's just standard. There was a house that sold for $575,000 in 2020. It was appraised at $430,000. It has a garage with another living space on top of it. That's how off it is. Second concern is just, we all think Tyler's wicked and evil and, they've done all kinds of things to us, but they've also had leaks and, information getting released that shouldn't have been. And supposedly they're backing the new in-school system for keeping student data. If they're this, sorry, I'm not trying not to say that word, messed up, what's the next thing they're going to do that's going to screw us? I just feel like we all need to keep our eyes open that something else doesn't spill out, from their mistakes. And lastly, somebody made a comment about the city not necessarily helping us. I was helped by the fact that the city changed the rate and, that made it lower. But my taxes went up overall for both city and county 115,000 or 115%, so more than double. If the city changes it to a different rate next year, I'm scared. I mean, I don't have the money yet to pay the county money. So if the city goes up to what it should have been had the rate not changed, I'm definitely selling my house. And I get offers all the time for $300,000. And my house is assessed at nearly $6 million.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Councilman Willauer has a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to, there's a resident, a 5th District resident who asked me to read her comment because she wasn't able to be here tonight, so if that's okay.
Yes.
So my name is May Miller, and I'm a resident and a homeowner for 40 years in West Center City. I would love to be there in person, but unfortunately circumstances do not allow me. With the assessment of my property, I was really disappointed and feel it took a great leap in the wrong direction. Instead of helping us, this hurt us financially. We as voters, when we elect public officials and send them to particular offices, we expect them to look after our best interests. Finding out later that they financially hurt us and put us in a category where we are paying more for our property taxes is very hurtful. I am grateful to the committee for devoting their time to this issue. I'm hoping this committee can assist residents in this area so we can pay less taxes. We have to address this issue. Thank you. I'm thankful to have the opportunity to voice my opinion. I'm speaking not just for me, but for all the residents in our community that have been affected by the higher taxes imposed on the residents of this community.
Yes, thank you. I don't think I have any more in-person or on online comments.
No, Madam Chair.
Yeah, no. So we can bring it back to City Council. I know on this particular topic, I know there's some conversations on what the city is going to do. I know Christian Willauer and a whole bunch of our other council people have been leading that cause. But one thing I think that is immediate that I do agree with is probably a webpage or something that we can provide for the community. And I believe the administration will be open to working with us on something like that to be able to provide updates, information. And that's the bare minimum, I think, that could happen, along with the longer term things that are happening. The administration put thumbs up. So I think that's something that we can get working on, and I'm willing to work on with you, Christian, and our Councilmember Willauer in this setting. And so yeah, that's what I have. Councilmember Willauer?
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Chair. I appreciate you wrapping it up like that. And I do think, just based on conversations with the administration, that they are talking about some really important things. But I think that, and Councilwoman Harley has been a real leader on property tax assessments and advancing like the changes that we need. So I think that we need to keep working together. I think that, based on what the residents and the small businesses have said here tonight, I've heard a lot, I've learned a lot. That is, what kind of solutions we need. So I just think between the administration, between the council members who are really pushing on this issue, and all of you, we need to have solutions so that to address all the things you brought up tonight. And I'm committed to working with you on that.
I think that's it for tonight on the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
If it's been properly moved and second to adjourn, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? End the meeting.